everyone and welcome back to another video. If you are new here, my name is Tash and I am a sewing pattern designer. In today's video I thought I'd do something a little bit different. So it's going to be more of a vlog. I'm making a new summer set. I'm going to do a bit of selfish sewing this week. So I'll be working on a new pattern, but it will be for myself. Because I always make new patterns and I love the designs of the patterns that I make, but they're not normally things I would wear on a day-to-day. They're normally more like evening dresses, not evening dresses, but more like holiday wear. So I wanted to do something a little bit different. I got sent some beautiful fabric from iSole Linen. They did very kindly gift it to me. They didn't ask me to post anything about it, so it's technically not an ad, but I thought you should know that it was gifted. So I have pre-washed the fabric. It's a linen, so I've got some white, it's like, I'll show you in a minute, but it's a white background. Going to need a lining, and I've got some white linen blend. It's like maybe a linen viscose. Anyway, I'm going to use that as lining, so I've pre-washed that as well. So I'm going to get these fabrics on the line while it's beautiful and sunny outside, and then show you what I'm going to make. Now, if you saw that last clip where I put all the fabric onto the line, you probably saw that my white viscose linen is, I'm gonna say it's a viscose linen, it feels like it. It's huge. I've probably got about 3 to 4 meters of that fabric, but I thought, well, I might as well wash it all at the same time instead of cutting it in half, because I might need a bigger piece for a future project. So that's out. I've got 2 meters of the linen, so I should have enough for what I want to make, but I am looking at it thinking, is that enough? So hopefully it is. Anyway, I'll show you what I'm gonna make. This top is puff sleeve with little elasticated cuffs like my Penelope dress, and then there's a square neckline. However, excuse the fact that I'm missing a nail, by the way. However, I bought a top from Zara recently that had this like curved underbust seam, and I thought that was really nice, so I thought I would add that. I actually used to sell a pattern for this top, but it had an open zipper on the back, and I didn't really like that. Because it's not a stretch fabric, it just didn't fit very well. So what I'm gonna do is do the same thing again, but I'm gonna add a shirred panel, or sheared, I don't know how you say it, but I say shirred panel in the back, so like an elasticated back to it, and I think that will look really nice, and I think that will make it fit a lot better. And then I might put like a tie strap across the back neck just to help these straps stay in place. And then what I'm thinking I'm gonna do is make a pair of almost wide leg shorts with a kind of thick waist, fly front zipper, and then with the thicker waist I think I'm gonna add a belt, but I want to make a belt out of the fabric if I have enough. If not, I might actually just buy some more of the fabric. So I'm thinking of, I've got a few belt buckles that I could cover with fabric and then make a belt, just a fabric belt, nothing too fancy, but with some eyelets for the holes. And then I wasn't sure how to, I'm gonna add siding pockets as well, but I wasn't sure what to do, whether to do like a turn up. What might look really nice if I add like almost a small pin tuck down the front of each one. Yeah, but I thought that outfit would look really nice together, and then I could wear the pieces individually, and I think I would actually wear it. So because I already had a pattern for I called it my Bridget top a while ago, I'm gonna see if I can find that. If I can find it, I'm gonna use that as a base, and I'm going to make some adjustments to it, which I will show you. Once I've done that, I'm probably gonna have to make the shorts from scratch, because I don't think I have any like fly front short blocks. I have a block, but I just don't think the fit is going to be great. So I've got a pair of shorts that I started making on Illustrator, but I haven't actually made any style from them yet. So I think I'm going to print off the like base. We'll call that my block. So I'm going to print off my shorts block, and then I can make the other adjustments. And I'm probably going to have to make a mock-up or a toile of both of those patterns to make sure they fit right, to be honest. But yeah, so let's do that. So I am that's gonna, yeah, fall on the floor. I am just printing my shorts. I only print it in the one size. There should be a size 10 block once it's done. So I'm gonna have to catch it because I don't have the thing that catches the paper anymore. I think I snapped it in the move. So now I've printed out all of my pieces. There's only 8 pages. I am going to stick them all together. It's times like these that I wish my projector worked. This bad boy that I've got down here gathering dust, because I just didn't like it. I just couldn't get it calibrated. But I think I've got this table here, and I think if I put a shelf here, and then I could just move this table here whenever I want to project something, then hopefully the calibration would stay the same because it wouldn't move from the wall. Hopefully. Anyway, I'm going to give it a go and see. So I really want to love the projector, but I just can't get past printing at the minute. I just find it to be so much more accurate, but maybe things will change. This is what I've got when it's all put together. It's just a standard pair of shorts, really, a bit wider leg. And then I've got a waistband piece for the front and back. Looking at it, it doesn't actually look like it's gonna be too wide. One thing I immediately notice is my waistbands are gonna be too thin because my belt buckle is probably about this big. Quite wide. I don't know if it's almost gonna be too wide. Maybe I should get a smaller one. I'll see how far I can get with the waistband. Maybe it'll work. Anyway, what I'm going to do is I'm going to trace this off onto pattern paper and then look at my sketch and just go from there and add the details. Check out the waistband, add all my seam allowance, and then it will be time for a toile. First thing I'm going to do to the shorts is I'm going to add side seam pockets. I thought I would just quickly show you how I do it. So first of all, I'm just going to measure down where I want the pocket to start. And bearing in mind, this is without the waistband. So if you're going to measure from your waist, then just take that into account. I'm thinking I'm going to measure about 3 centimeters down. I'm going to mark my first point. That notch will be where my pocket starts. What I do is I put my hand there and then I draw kind of pocket shape around it. So here would be, I can't twist my arm that way. I know roughly anyway, so what I'll do is I'll draw it and I'll check it out after. So the first point is gonna match up here, and then your general pocket shape is something like this. Like, a lot of people think that they have to get an exact pocket shape. You don't. Your pocket shape can be absolutely whatever you want it to be. That's a decent pocket. Like, I'm not going to be fully putting loads of stuff in my pocket. I also like to check if I just put my phone on it, because I have quite a big phone, would it fit in the pocket? Like, it would. So my shorts pattern piece will just have these 2 notches, and that will just show where the pocket pieces will be. So I just marked the pocket notch there, and that is going to be my pocket, right? So then I will get a piece of paper and then I will just trace it off, and that is the pocket piece. And you'll add seam allowance here, depending on what you add seam allowance onto your short piece. However, if that's your perfect amount without seam allowance, then you wanted to add extra all around here. So, because obviously when you sew your pockets together, you're going to want the seam allowance around the edge. Mine's going to be okay because I only sew with a 1 centimeter seam allowance. So that's still going to be enough room for my hand. So if you wanted it to have seam allowance added extra, then you would add your seam allowance all the way around. But just remember, on your main pattern piece, you're going to need to lower your notches and higher that notch to accommodate for the seam allowance. But yeah, so mine is, that's already got its seam allowance. All I need to do is just add to the side seam whatever I add to here. That's my pocket piece, and we will need to cut 4 of them. What I'm actually going to do with mine is I am actually going to take this piece off and have this piece in the main fabric and this piece in the lining fabric, so that I will join these pieces, and then when you put your hand into your pocket, you'll see main fabric, but I don't waste any fabric on this part, so I'll show you that later. So one thing I just thought I'd quickly add about the pocket is, obviously when you've placed these notches for a side seam pocket, you also need to place the notches on the back. So what I did was I just measured down the 3 centimeters like I did on the other side, and then I just measured from this point to this point, measured this also, and then placed the notch at the bottom there too. And then what I'll do is I'm going to add 1 centimeter seam allowance onto the side seams, and then I will move these notches out into the side seams. You don't actually need to keep this pocket on here, so when I trace off the actual pattern, it will just be the main shorts, but obviously I still need to add the fly. Okay, so I went away for a bit and did some of the work. So I've got my back waistband, my shield, my back shorts, my pocket I still need to adjust actually, my front waistband, my front left and my front right leg. Now what I'm going to do with the pocket is just cut off here and then add some seam allowance to this piece and this piece where they join. Now I don't know if this will be a little bit confusing to see, but imagine this is made out of lining and then this is made out of your main fabric. Then they will sew together like this and you'll have one main pocket. I have done the pattern, it's all here and ready to cut out. Now I need to make a sample because I don't know how it's actually going to fit. The only other thing I'm unsure on is the lining. Well, I haven't ever lined trousers with a fly front before. I've always lined them with like a side invisible zipper or something like that. So I'm not entirely sure how you would line it around the fly front. So that might be another bit that I have to like wing it and see. Yeah, I don't know. I'm going to crack on and cut the shorts now out of some calico, file them up, see how they fit. I don't know if I'll get a chance to do anything else today, so I will do that and then we'll see. It might be tomorrow that I speak to you again. Good morning. So it's actually about 11 o'clock now, but I've been working on the shorts this morning. So I've done the front of the shorts and I've done the back of the shorts, and now I'm going to put them together, and then yeah, that'll be great. But yeah, anyway, so I will show you the shorts. This is the front of the shorts. I did actually just film this, but it kept like focusing and defocusing. But anyway, this is the fly front here, so I'm relatively happy with that. I don't know if I've done this the wrong way around. Is it? I can never remember with women. I'm gonna have to look at something I've got upstairs and see which side the fly should be on. Really happy with the pin tucks. I think they're such a nice, are these even pin tucks or are they kind of borderline pleats? I'd say they're borderline pleats, but anyway, really happy with them. I think they just give it a nice sort of tailored look. Here you can see the lining versus the main fabric for the pockets. And now I'm gonna add the back to the front and then see where we go from there. So as I'm doing this, I have just realised that when I made the pattern, it's like a tapered leg and it's not sitting right, so I need to straighten off the hem if I'm going to do a deep hem like this. So I'll bear that in mind and put that on my notes. Okay, I'm not too far off. These are a bit small though. Like, I really do like them, but they are pulling at the pocket. Excuse the fact that you can see my pants. But yeah, so they're nice from the side. They're really nice from the side. They are slightly too small for me, but from the back, I don't actually have a mirror. They're a little bit hungry bum, so I might need to sort that out. And then the rest of them isn't too bad, you know. These are poking out because I need some more room on the sides. And also, when I got them on, they only just fit over my bum because obviously there's no stretch to this fabric. So, pulling up quite a lot here as well. So I've just cut straight up here, and if I add this, like, they sit so much nicer. That little bit of well, I say little bit, it's quite a lot. That is actually 3.5 inches that need to be added in flare, but it does start to then sit nicer. I think I also need to drop the crotch a little bit. Yeah, I think I'll add a bit more into the front. Maybe not the full 3 inches, you know. Maybe a bit less, maybe more like 2 inches. Yeah, this is definitely, if I do this and I get a bit of a excess. So that needs to be opened here, and then I need to work out what this is. Full disclosure, I have done about 4 samples of these because I just kept, something wasn't right and I couldn't put my finger on it. And then after the 3rd sample, I had an epiphany and realised that the reason it wasn't working and the shape was so weird on me is that the pattern wasn't balanced. And also my fly wasn't on the centre front. So we'll look at these shorts and then I'll show you. So what I was having an issue with was this part here, the fly wasn't on the center front. So it was kind of like this. And then when I was pulling it together, it was pulling all the fabric here and then pulling all the fabric here. So I ended up with like this weird load of excess fabric here. So obviously the fly now sits completely straight. Anyway, I'm happy with these. I haven't put belt loops on because I don't really need to sample them. Anyway, I'm gonna stop babbling now and get on to making the real ones. So I realized I don't actually have a zip for these shorts. So I really want to get them made today, so I'm going to pop into town. I'm not going to take you with me because I don't want to carry my camera through town because it's so hot today. I'm not bringing a bag or anything. Okay, I am back and I have some zips. So I wanted this one with a silver teeth, but they didn't have it in 6 inches. They only had it in 5. Normally I would have just gone for it, but given the fact that I already find these a little bit hard to get over my bum, I don't really want to shorten the length of the zip because then it's not going to open as much for me to get it over the hips. So I was going to go for a standard dress zipper, but they're quite thin. So this is an open end zipper. So if you undid it all the way like a jacket, it would just open. But I think I got a longer one. So you can see this one's 6. And this one's 10, I think. But I'm gonna sew over it here, hand stitch a few rows of stitching, which will stop it going any further. And then I think I'm just gonna use that because I don't think the gold is gonna go with the blue and the white. So that's what I think we will do. Anyway, it's time to cut the fabric. Okay, so when I cut my piece out, I noticed this little, do you know what I think it is? I think it's a squished bug. So, and it's really quite dark. It doesn't look like much on here, but even when I open it out, like it's really obvious, look. So I think this is gonna be my internal waistband piece. I think when I put it on the line to dry, it must have got a squish bug on it. But now I'm going to cut out my interfacing. I'm going to interface, because it's such a wide waistband, I'm going to cut interfacing for both of them. It'll just help it stand a little bit better on its own. Okay, so I'm really quite annoyed. I've cut my fabric out. I didn't even think to check which way up it went. And my print is upside down. How annoying. It wouldn't be so bad if it was just the flowers, but the fact that it's the birds. All the pieces, I've cut them all out the same look. It's all upside down. Excuse the fridge being in here, by the way. We normally put the fridge in the conservatory, but the electrics have all gone. Yeah, so I'm really annoyed that I've done that, but it's just one of those silly mistakes. It's just a shame that it's on such a beautiful piece of linen, and I've cut out all the shorts. Anyway, I've got enough to cut another pair of shorts. So initially I wanted to do the top and the shorts, which is just not gonna be possible now. I'm gonna be able to do one or the other. I think I still really wanna make the top though. So I might just do this vlog and make the shorts and fully make them, because I think it's gonna be pretty long anyway. Get them made, and then I think I'm gonna order some more fabric. I reckon I can get away with the waistband. As long as there's no like big birds on the waistband, I can get away with it. I'm gonna have a look. Okay, so I recut out the pieces, and now my birds are the right way up. I've interfaced my waistband pieces. So what I did was I kept one of the one without the mark on it, I kept, so it's upside down, but that's gonna be the internal waistband. I've got my back pieces, I've got my pocket bags and these little bits to attach to the pockets. I've got my shield, and then I've got my front pieces. Fly, I've interfaced, you can't really see it. Yes, the first thing I'm gonna do is attach these to these, make up the pockets. Then I will probably sew up the back just along the crotch seam here, and then attach the pockets to the sides. I'll show you how I do that just because you might want to do that on something else. So here I have my back, and I've already joined my back pieces and overlocked them at the crotch seam. And then here I have my pocket pieces which have been overlocked and joined here. So now what I'm going to do is just place my pocket piece with the right sides together in between my notches, but I'm going to do it on both sides, and then sew here just using a 5mm seam allowance, and then overlock this entire seam as well, and do that on both sides. Okay, so now I've attached and overlocked the pocket, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to press it away from the side seam, and then what I'm going to do is just top stitch along the edge, but just on the pocket side, so just along here. Then what we'll do is do exactly if you're just doing standard size seam pockets, you can just do exactly the same thing on your front, and then I'll show you when we get to sewing the back and front together how you would do it. So the next thing is going to be sorting the shield out. So I'm going to fold the shield in half, sew along the bottom here, and then turn it through, and then press it in half, and then overlock the edge. So that will make my shield up. Then I'm going to reduce my zipper down to the correct size. This is actually quite big. It's actually quite big, but I think it'll be okay. So I'm going to reduce my zipper down to the correct size. And then I'm going to get all of that inserted and join up my front pieces. So wish me luck. So now we've got the front, I've put in my zipper. It's a little bit annoying because this zipper is just a little bit too bulky, but it will do. It's just when it folds over, obviously it's not clearing this enough. I really need to make it a little bit wider, the fly, but that's fine. So I've attached my pockets the same way I did on the back, and then what I would do now, because I need to sew the side seams, is place my back on top of my front with the right sides facing, and I would match up all the seams as so. Then what I would do is I would sew the front to back along the side seam here, and then I'd go about 1 centimetre past where this is, and then go all the way around, and then back in here until you reach like 1 centimetre seam allowance again, and then back down the side. And then that's it. That is how you put a side seam pocket in. Now, do you want to know what I did? I accidentally dunked my pocket into my tea. It was only the corner, it was only a small bit, but I immediately washed it and then I've put it on the line to dry, so it shouldn't take long because it's actually really sunny. Anyway, I'm gonna call it a day and I will be back tomorrow, finish this vlog, finish the shorts and show you what they look like. Oh, I actually need to do a belt as well, don't I? So I'll do that in a belt and belt loops, maybe lining. So hopefully I'll do all that tomorrow. But I will be back and I will show you where I'm at with it. I'm not going to do the top in this. I've decided I have got some fabric left, which is good. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to order 1 meter and then that should be enough to make the top. But yeah, that's all for now and I will see you tomorrow. Good morning, everyone. Welcome back. Today is Thursday and today I am finally going to finish these shorts. I'm just pressing the hem now. I'm loving how these are looking. I'm actually debating whether they even need lining because the print is so dense on the fabric. There's not that much white and I'm thinking that maybe they don't need it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hem them and then I'm going to attach the first waistband because so it's got 2 and obviously the second one I need to make the belt loops and the belt anyway. But I'm gonna then try them on and then see in a few different lights what I think. I might put on some like dark underwear and just see how see-through they are because I wouldn't wear them with dark underwear anyway. But I'm just thinking they're gonna be like nice and light and breezy for the summer. Do I really want a lining as well? So yeah, I'm gonna see because like right now when I'm looking through them, I'll show you in a sec, but I can't even see the pocket. So that to me says that you can't see that much. So, okay, so this is what we're currently working with and I'm loving them so far. So we've got the fly popped in, the pleats I've added in, or the pin tucks. I love these. I think they're such a lovely detail. Even though you can't see much because it's such a pattern fabric, I think it just works really well. And then I've just started hemming here. So I'm turning it up by 1 centimetre and then I'm going to turn it up by 2.5 and have a deep hem. So that is currently where we're at. And then, yeah, I'm going to try them on and see where we go from there. Birds are right way up this time. I obviously haven't pattern matched because fabric is sparse. I did order another metre, so I think I do have enough to make the top, but I didn't order anything else. Just tried these on and I just thought I'd pop back on here and say I've decided not to line them because they're not that see-through actually. Like I'm wearing bright pink pants underneath and I actually can't see. So I think I'm just going to leave them because I'll wear nude underwear when I actually wear them so that you can't see. So I'm going to finish them now. I'm going to finish them, I'm going to make them belt loops and then I'll show you what I'm going to do for the belt because I managed to get, they're really, really hard to get, but I managed to get some belt buckles that you can fabric cover. So I'll show you how I do that, show you how I make the belt and then, yeah, very exciting. So I've decided to go hook and eye here instead of a button. I just think it's nicer and you can see now why I didn't want a gold zipper because I've got silver hook and eyes. So here's the hook and here is the eye. So they're not the neatest, but my hook and eyes are sewn on. I've turned you around just to have a moment where I've realised I've sewn my hooks on the wrong way. So I've sewn them on this way when they need to be the other way round. Otherwise I'm hooking backwards. So I need to unpick them and do them again. Okay, I am back. So I've sewn on my hook and eyes and also I've noticed that my waistband is not even, which is very annoying, but that is where the belt is going to be. So I will neaten it up at some point, but for now I'm just going to leave it and get started on the belt. So I have got some bits and pieces to make belts. So I bought a load of belt buckles a while ago when I had my clothing brand and it's just pieces of like really thin metal, but I only really want to do a thin fabric belt. So these pieces, once I've got the fabric in, go together and then I have a little pin here that just goes on here like that, can you see? So the first thing we need to do is, so this bit doesn't get covered, we ignore that bit for now. This is the bit that needs to be covered. So they're quite thin and flimsy, like there's not much to them, but when they've got fabric on them, they get better. So I've cut a square of fabric that I'm gonna use for my covering. And then what I'm gonna do is I use double-sided sticky tape to begin with. So I'm going to put some double-sided tape just on where the belt buckle piece will sit. So we'll kind of roughly do it. So I've got one. This is literally just to hold it in place really while I glue. I make like the border, just check that it fits, yeah. And then I also put double-sided tape in this middle bit. You'll see why in a minute, but I just make sure that everything is covered in this tape. I've put double-sided sticky tape all over this, and then I'm going to place this face down onto the tape. Right side down onto your fabric, and just make sure it's really stuck. Then what I do is I just get my scissors and I just like make a little nip in the middle from the right side of the fabric. I'll show you in a second. So I cut up to about here, like I don't cut all the way. Same again here, maybe slightly more. And then I also cut to the corners from this line, but leaving a small bit again. And then I do the same here. So you can see here. Now I've got that, I'm also going to cut these down slightly. So basically what's going to happen is I'm going to push these up like so, and then they're going to stick on the inside of this belt buckle, just on this bit here. And now I don't want it to be too thick, so I'm going to cut these pieces down, not all the way, but just so that I can tuck them into this little groove. Okay, so now that's all stuck into the inside, we're going to do the same for the outside. So this time I'm going to, that might be a bit too small actually. Just check, it's slightly too small, but it'll be okay. And then I'm going to cut all the way around the edge. So then I'm just going to stick it the best I can, mostly on the sides. At the corner, just kind of mould it. Right, so now I'm just going to stick as much as I can to the inside. So you want to make sure everything's to the inside of that groove. And when you turn it to the right side, you've got a lovely covered belt buckle. So the next step is, now I use this glue. I don't know if this is the right glue to use, but it's very good and it's never let me down. So I'm just going to fill, basically I just fill this as much as I can on the inside with glue. Okay, and then what I do is I also take this piece, which is going to go inside, and then I just add a bit of glue to the edges of this as well, just to, not in the groove of this one, I do add it to the edges, but just a small bit. And I do this to the edges just so that it holds well, because sometimes it doesn't quite, because this is like hollow as well, it doesn't meet the groove properly. I think you can cover this piece too if you wanted to. I'm going to pop that on there so it doesn't come out. I'm going to stick this straight inside, like so. And there's my belt buckle. I'm going to give it a good press, and then what I normally do is like really press it all around the edges and then leave it. This does dry pretty quick, so by the time that I've actually made the belt, this should be dry enough to use. Here we have our belt. So I don't know if you remember, but on my belt, see how it folds over and folds around this, but the prong goes in the middle of it. So I measured 4 centimeters, didn't I, to fold back by, but then I took a centimeter away for the seam allowance. So now it's 3 centimeters away. So I need to make a hole in the center, 3 centimeters away from the end. So I'm just gonna make a really tiny dot, and I'm gonna cut a hole. Got a little tiny hole. So the first thing I'm gonna do is place this little prong over the top, just squeeze this together, and then it's squeezed on enough that now it just won't come off. Then what I'm going to do is place this up through here, like so, and then it's going to go over the bar, but as it goes over the bar, we want to make sure that it goes through the prong as well. Now, I'm just going to sew that together. Probably needed to go a bit more than 4 centimeters because this belt buckle is going to be in the way now. You could hand sew, but it's going to be stronger if you just do a stitch as close as you can. So I'm going to quickly do that. Okay, that was really lucky because I only just managed to catch it just on the edge. I don't know if you can see that. So this bit here is where I sewed, and that was literally as far as I could get it in. So you'd need more than a 4 centimeter fold. So now all we need to do is make some eyelets, and then they will poke straight through, and there we have our belt. So the belt is done. I am so happy with these. It just works so well. Pockets, they fit well. Okay, view from the front, view from the back. I am so happy with these shorts. They are literally my new favourite. I'm so warm right now that I'm so glad that I finished these shorts. I'm really glad I didn't line them as well, because I think they fit nice without the lining, and they're cool, and the linen really has full effect when it's just the linen. I'm so glad I persevered with the fit. I'm so glad that I ended up actually making them after cutting them upside down. The goal is obviously to also make the top. White puff sleeve top might be nice instead. I might wear that a bit more. I'll still make the other one because I'll wear them as separates anyway. So I think I'm gonna do that. But yeah, really happy with them. Thank you so much for watching my first ever vlog. I hope you enjoyed it. I actually really enjoyed making it, so I might do some more of these, and I will see you in the next one.